everybody. Welcome back to the Rocket City Momentum podcast. I am your host, Dana Stone. We will have some drop-ins from the illustrious Lucas Scott. He just can't stand not being on camera. But today, I'm so excited. We have Wyatt Castle here from Now Here Coaching. Wyatt, why don't you tell us about yourself and how you got started into coaching?
Hey everybody, my name is Wyatt Castle. I'm the founder of Now Here Coaching. I was born and raised overseas, and through that drew myself into a lot of situations where I fell in love with lots of cultures and a lot of different environments. And as those things took place, I knew that that's where I wanted to stay. However, having a family and wanting to continue to grow in my community, I decided to start a coaching business. And that's where things started to take off. As things started to uniquely develop behind the scenes after my time working in the government, I realized that it was a niche that I was born into. And so that's where I've stayed focused, is continuing to develop in my time here in Huntsville.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we've talked a little bit. I remember the first time we met and I was like drilling you and you were like, did I pass the test?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I was like, oh, maybe you should be a little less intrusive when you talk to people.
Yeah.
So we talked about kind of this idea of having a blueprint. Why don't you expand on that a little bit? Because it kind of fascinated me.
Yeah. So the idea for me is I love helping people create opportunities. And one of the things that I realized was as I continued to connect with people that were either born and raised here or never really even left the United States, that so much of our identity is built on, I call it being coded by your zip code, instead of being understanding who you're really designed to be. And this can be through DNA, through generations. We carry things from past generations. And I was blessed to have that opportunity to not grow up just in one location. And so I always kind of challenged who I was, and it helped me really understand what that blueprint is, who I'm designed to be. And I believe that the house that we are, when we're born, there's like a house that's created and that's our life, but we can design it and structure it in ways that it was never designed, that we actually don't enjoy. And so that's where the idea started with using the term blueprint. Was what is that blueprint? If you want to make renovations or you want to add to something, you have to understand how it's structurally intact.
Mm-hmm. So we become who we are based on our environment, based on our experiences, the different things. And so it was very interesting the first time I traveled out of the country, how you don't realize what's happening in the world. You don't realize how sheltered you are in your zip code. I love that kind of mentality. So what are the biggest things that you see that holds people back from that mentality, from not really knowing more than your street and more than your culture?
Yeah, I think, well, as most people, if anybody else is in business, relationships are everything. And understanding how to connect with people is so important. And when we don't get outside of that bubble, right, or that culture, we can see certain people in a certain way because we've never understood the correct lens to look at them through. And so when we do grow and we kind of mature that cultural mindset, we're able to really tune into, they're not being a jerk. That's just how they're wired. Yeah. Or they're really, they're very forward. And it's like, well, yeah. Or maybe they have I make the joke, my wife is German, and I make the joke of the resting German face. It's something that happens, right? Germans are very blunt and forward. And so you can some people you meet that are from Germany or just different cultures have a certain look or stature about them. And it's not that they're mean or rude. My wife is one of the sweetest women you'll ever meet. But when you look at her from across the room, it may seem like she's going to death glare you. It's like, okay.
Intimidating, right? Super intimidating.
Very intimidating. So,
okay, well, give me some more examples. Like what other cultures are misunderstood?
Yeah. There's two ones that I've actually been focusing on recently, studying into. And one of them is like Western African. And so some of the things that are really important are like names. It carries 3 generations before and the expectation of 3 generations after. So your name itself is so crucial. How you're named, the name that you're given, the position of that. And so for us in the United States, we kind of pick and choose, I'm going to go by my middle name. To me, growing up, that was such a foreign concept. It was like, no, you can't. That's the name that you were given. You can't just pick what name you want to use. And so things like that, some people may get offended by, and it's like, oh, why is that offensive? And it's not. It's just the culture that they're from.
Oh, I've never thought about that. Right. Because here in the US, people literally just make stuff up.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're just like, you know what? Your name is going to be Romanely. That is now a name, right?
Correct.
Like, oh, I actually kind of hate it.
Yeah,
right.
Okay,
Like,
but just someone out there, I'm sorry. If your name is Romanely, didn't mean it. It's not about you specifically. Like, she's just trying to make up a name. Whatever. Leave comments with fun names that you've heard. Yeah, totally.
The best ones, right? The best ones.
Absolutely.
As a second grade teacher, my daughter was like, I can't even tell you some of the names that are coming in here, and the spellings. They just that's the other big thing. Just make up our own spelling. So is that important to our culture? Are we being insensitive of other cultures when we do that? Like what? Tell me the ways.
Yeah, no, I think it's just what we're trying to get to is a place of mutual respect, where we are able to understand different cultures and not assume things just based on the way that people act or the way that people are. Removing that guilt and judgment from the workplace specifically is what I focus on. But it also is very relevant to everything that we do around us. And so I think that there's not really a right or wrong answer to anything in that context. There is a wrong answer. And that is choosing to not want to see it that way.
Yeah.
Keeping yourself in the mindset of those different people are different, and I'm not going to associate or be around them. And that you don't have to be friends with everybody, but not respecting people, I think, is the wrong answer.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's very fair. Okay. So coaching in general has become quite popular these days. Everyone, like, you just hang a sticker up and you're now a coach. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that word, I think consultant was the one before it, and that's hard. And there's just kind of words that associate with different things. I actually call myself an identity architect. And so blueprint makes sense. Construction, not that I'm focusing just on buildings, but most people understand homes and houses. So that's an analogy I use a lot. And so identity architect fit me really well. I think the word coaching, though, if I would just say, hey, I'm a coach, when I first started, that's what I did. And a lot of people were like, oh, what sport do you play? And I went, oh, no, not that kind of coach. And it was like, like a life coach kind of thing. And it just, so I decided to make the shift. And there's some folks that have negative impacts with, the word like a therapist or things like that. And so I wanted to kind of get away from that word a little bit more. But I think if people use it, it's still very accurate for the description. So
do you classify the work that you do in life coaching? Mm-hmm. So you resonate with that? I do. So what do you think is making it so popular? I think that people want to help people. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of space right now where we're learning more about mental health and we're learning about opportunities, and people also face their own struggles. And I think that naturally when we find a solution that helped us, we want to share it with other people. Mm-hmm. So for people that are struggling in certain areas, when they find that relief, they're like, let me go tell somebody about it. Let me go try and create a way that I can do this more to help other people. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to do. Yeah. So do you feel like there was a point at which you were struggling and you had this aha moment, and then tell us about that? Yeah. So, I know I kind of give a quick glance and it's okay. You can it's just you and me right here. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, but I said, and me, I'm here too. No, not really. You're just saying. Not really. Yeah. But just in the introduction, I kind of said I grew up around the world. So I was born in Turkey. I was born and raised from Turkey. We went to Arizona, then Berlin, Germany, then Zimbabwe, South Africa, and then Seoul in South Korea. And then I went to high school in Michigan. That was a hard transition. Yeah. And so Turkey to Arizona, U.S. Correct. Okay. And then back out. Berlin. Uh-huh. Yep. In Germany. And then to Harare, Zimbabwe. What was the hardest transition? I would say from Harare, Zimbabwe to Seoul, South Korea. That was a really, really hard move. Going from almost no resources. If you follow history and look at the years we were there, there's a reason why we were in those countries at those times. And so economy was really, really bad. And that was a hard shift, going from you don't get to pick what you eat to there's aisles of cereal where people just accept it. And what is that here? Where was that?
That was going into Korea.
And okay, so Korea, much like the U.S. in that way.
Correct. We were on a base in Korea. We were on an Air Force base in Korea. And so it was totally different. It was like stepping back into the US a little bit, right? You had Subway and you had all these different fast food joints. And in Harare, we lived just in the town. We had a nice place and everything, but it was a location where we weren't out, we were isolated. And so we connected with locals and we grew with locals, and those were my friends. And just learning how to adapt to those environments, I loved it. I wanted to learn more about, why do you guys do this? Everybody plays soccer? And that's a great universal sport, by the way, is soccer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really hard transition to Korea, because Korea is a very booming economy, and there was lots going on with the north side of Korea, and then, South Korea as where we were. And so that was just really unique. And that was probably my hardest transition.
And how old were you then?
That would have been, I want to say about 8.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking maybe it was like the teen, and I was, maybe that's why too.
Yeah.
But it's always hard. And so you were constantly having to redefine yourself, or were you just trying to find your place in this new community? Yeah.
So a lot of the people that you're around are in the same boat.
Yeah.
Because
we're all this is all military, right?
Mostly, yeah. Okay. And so it was really unique to have those friends that understood that. I learned very quickly how to make friends quickly. You kind of learn how to put your best foot forward, but still be genuine, but also protect the sides of you that you don't want people to, there's that diplomatic piece. And so that was a hard transition, because when I came to the US, then everybody was born and raised in the same area, and it was in Michigan, and everybody had the same friends. Everybody had the same clique since kindergarten or whatnot. And so then you have this weird kid that showed up that used to live in Africa and used to live in Korea. And I used to think, by the way, I love Lucas's style. I had awesome, like Western shirts. I don't know if you wear Western shirts at all.
I've got one shirt that I got out in Portland at a hipster thrift shop, and it's got some, I've been called a lumberjack in it a couple, and I did have a Western phase, but we'll talk about that another time.
Okay, sounds good. But that was to me what Americans dressed like, because I grew up watching Lone Ranger. I grew up watching all these Western shows, and my mom grew up in Santa Fe in New Mexico. And so to me, that was American. So I remember going to school and
I'm going to dress American.
I was going to dress American. I'm going to show up, right? And I was like, nobody dresses like this. And it was so horrible. But it was just,
I'm going to fit right in.
I'm going to fit right in. Look at me. I'm my mom's handsome boy, and it's good. And I was. And to me, that was where I really started to challenge, who am I? Right. And now that's also starting in high school.
Right.
So that's even more so.
You're already dealing with identity crisis enough.
Correct.
I've got 2 boys. One's about to be 12. One is 13. And woof, we are headed to it. Yep. Who am I? Who is this person? Yeah. So now you're pretty stationary. Mm-hmm. How is that different for you?
Yeah, so I say we are stationary. We still tend to kind of move every 2 to 3 years, which is great.
Because I figured that might be like not like a strategy, but like a habit, right? Like you kind of get we've been here a while. We need to go.
Absolutely. No, and it's been fantastic. The Huntsville economy has continued to be sustained even through COVID. So we were able to kind of keep up with that every 2 to 3 years. Like my wife and I would move, and we started in Tony, and then we went to Harvest, and now we're out in Athens. And it's just, we fell in love with it. But Athens is definitely where we're going to call home for a long time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got to come down to South Huntsville.
We have family down here.
So we were in Tony, and then moved to Madison Harvest area, and then moved to Athens, and then moved to South Huntsville. So so you might be following suit. Okay. So, but you've been here since when?
2018.
Okay. Is that the longest you've been in one?
It is.
Place? All right. So how is that different for you?
I'm learning to adapt in my own unique way.
Okay.
So I think coaching is what is helping me do this as well. Huntsville is such a unique metropolitan melting pot of cultures, and more and more and more is coming. And so I think that's what I've stepped into, is how do I help other people make that connection, instead of it feeling like other things are coming here? It's creating this environment to invite and grow and use it to utilize it for greater growth together. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, having those conversations at work, different people that were born and raised either, in some part out in Elkmont, things like that. It feels like people are starting to almost push into your territory a little bit, and it can feel like that. And we're naturally very territorial people, as humans. And so that's hard. Where's that balance? And I think grace plays a huge role in that.
Yeah.
So,
I really wasn't born here, but we moved here when I was 4 months old.
Okay.
So I know no different, right? I always feel like I struggle. I'm always like, I have to tell the whole truth. I wasn't actually born here, but I don't know any different. And so we lived in the 5 Points area growing up. And I really don't know anything other than Huntsville. But when I have traveled around Alabama, it feels as though Huntsville's very unique.
Yes.
When you think of Alabama, you don't actually think of Huntsville. Would that be
I don't know. So I don't know the U.S. that well.
Yeah.
To where I would know areas and towns. I know things that happen in areas of the U.S. and things, but I don't know. So
you don't even really have preconceived notions of the North and the South and the other things that people would just
naturally
grow up learning, right?
Yeah.
We hate those Yankees, right?
I get called a Yankee all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're like, I have no idea what you mean.
It took me a long time to figure it out. And then I was like, not really.
I actually don't really know what Yankee means, honestly. Lucas, what's Yankee mean?
Okay, so it's like a northerner, but they have two kinds of Yankees down here in the South. They have Yankees and damn Yankees, and the difference is damn Yankees stay. Yeah, and yes, this is true, because I'm from New York originally. I was born there, Dana. But we didn't stay long, and I bounced around a lot. But yeah, what you said is true. Alabama and Huntsville are not the same thing. It's just not, because there are places in Alabama where bigotry and deep levels of racism and hate, the Southern scary thing that is you're not from around here, are you, boy? That flavor stuff where people can get hurt is still a thing. And
in other areas.
In other areas, yeah. In Huntsville, definitely not. I mean, there's people everywhere that are crazy, whatever. So you put enough people in a room. But there are cities in Alabama where it's deep South
where
flavor.
You're scared for your safety I get that.
That's very much like that. But Huntsville's not. Huntsville's beautiful. It's awesome. We're in Huntsville. You should come to Huntsville.
It is.
Or don't stay away.
Yeah.
It's that joke about our secret is getting out. I do remember when Madison was all cotton fields. I remember when we would go to Madison, mom and dad had friends out there, and it was like a cross country trip to get there. There were no 565 didn't exist.
Wow.
You couldn't really easily get places.
Yeah.
There was the Parkway. That was it.
Yeah.
And you could go out 72. So showing my age.
I remember the Parkway. We used to drop back when I was a teenager. We would drive down to South Parkway, gravel. It was gravel road. There was a sushi place down there. Sushi in Alabama. We take risks. But my point is, it was just gravel. And so, yeah, a lot has shifted.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't go to South Huntsville then. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Okay, so tell me, who would you say is your favorite type of person to work with?
I love working with younger professionals.
Define younger.
Yep. So I would say 18 to 35.
Okay.
So people that are going through a lot of, people in life that are in transition, seasons of transition. So in that time frame, usually you are graduating high school, going into college, graduating college, getting your first job, maybe becoming a supervisor, getting promotions. There's a lot of career steps that happen in that time frame. And so what I focus on in those areas specifically is I do a lot of the cultural coaching. I do a lot of the identity architecting coaching, but also helping people create that career that's going to give them joy and sustain them long term. And so it's not necessarily career coaching. That's why I say I don't call myself really a career coach or a business coach. Or I want to focus on what's that blueprint. And the reason why I'm able to do that, when you ask about why I just kind of say young professionals, is those are people that are also capable, where I want you to succeed. I want to create those opportunities, but you want to succeed and you want those opportunities.
I get it. So after 35, they're just old, ornery, and just kind of set in their ways, and they're not willing to change. Or I get it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, and it's true. There's people that are like, there's a gentleman that I get coffee with almost on a weekly basis, and he's in his 70s, and it's just a part of, we are always learning. We are always growing. So that's the kind of the name of my business, why it's called Now Here Coaching, is because now here is never a stationary place, because we're always now here. Well, I want to get there. Okay, well then you're there. Well, now you're just now here. And there's always going to be that next step, that next opportunity to continue to grow. So it's not a singular finish line. It's a continual place of growth.
So the now here and the nowhere, like, did you realize that immediately? Is that the play on words on purpose? Like,
yeah. So there's a third one as well. Technically there's a fourth, but I'll share that one last. But the first one is, so it's nowhere and now here, but it's also now where. And so as you're looking at it, there's the reason why the parentheses are around it in the way that they are is because there are lots of times we just feel like we're going nowhere. And the reason why I knew it beforehand was my wife, we watch movies and subtitles sometimes, and I read the word and my brain would like just started dissecting it. And I'm like, this is off. Like, like subtitles can like mess words up. And I was like, something's off. And I realized that it wasn't off. It was just my brain read it wrong. And so it's, nowhere to now here to now where is the continual growth pattern. And so it's finding that place where you can find that foundation to stand on, where you know who you are, you know where you want to go. Now, where am I called to go, or what am I called to do next? And it's that continual growth.
So how do they know that they're ready for this kind of growth? Like what are this pain that they're feeling that they think, I should definitely get some coaching around this subject. I should bounce my ideas off of somebody else.
Yeah, I think we all get stuck. There's moments in life where we get stuck. Maybe work starts to feel very mundane. There's a disconnect from the people that you're with or around. And that's not necessarily just depression. It's, there's things that play into that where we feel, man, everybody else is happy with what they're doing. I'm doing twice the amount of work trying to get that. Excuse me. But I know that I'm missing something. Why am I not getting the same satisfaction? And it's nothing wrong with people. It's sometimes you're misaligned, right? You feel that misalignment. So those are some of the things that I hear when I talk to some people. Automatically, they're very self-aware and they'll kind of say those keywords. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk. For other people, it's, I'm stepping into a new season. I'm about to become a dad, or I'm about to get married, but I don't feel like I actually know what I'm supposed to do next, or who I am, or how I can be more prepared, because some people want that, right? I want to be the best dad I can be. I want to be the best husband I can be. And they're seeking that clarity and they're seeking that growth. Those are also really good seasons to kind of step into coaching, especially with a life coach or people that are doing that kind of work.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody unbiased that can just kind of feed back to you to make sure that the things that you're kind of articulating are actually what you're feeling. Because sometimes I feel like people are scared to say things because they're afraid that they haven't thought it all the way through. And if it comes out, then they're stuck. They've said this and now everybody's going to think of them this way.
Yeah.
And it's good to verbalize things, because you can verbalize something and then you can think, I don't actually really think that. That's actually not what I believe. And it's funny, Lucas and I were talking today actually, and we were talking about regrets. Do you remember this, Lucas? And he said, the only thing I actually regret is when in the, early 20s, maybe even all the 20s and some of the early 30s, is thinking that whatever I did was going to be my forever thing. Like if I was going to go and learn about plumbing, that meant I needed to be a plumber forever.
Yeah.
That was the path that I was on. You want to elaborate on that? Because it was such a good point.
Well, thank you. I have to remember to not only look at the switch when I'm on my angle there. The thought process was basically like, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I was supposed to be doing, like from the perspective of like you pick what you're going to do and then you just do that and that's it. I feel like there's a cultural component to it, like this, even like the education system kind of aligns with that. And I just thought that like knowing now, looking back at my life and thinking about my son, I have a 10-year-old son, and like I had to fix my car recently. I'm going to make this, I promise I won't spin out. I had to fix my car. I've never had to do this before. I've always had someone in my life that can help me. I had to get it done, and I've faced this before, and I've felt pain and shame about not being able to do this myself. And so I stepped forward and I did. And as I was doing it, I was bringing Nathan, my son, along, and I didn't require him to do anything. I just wanted him near me so he could see things happening. And I thought, man, I wish that I had spent time earlier on. This is where that came from, where I had learned about some of these things that every person faces. Everyone in our community, in our world, would benefit from understanding how to deal with things like plumbing, like carpentry, like electrical, like any of this stuff could be wildly beneficial. And I feel like I spent such a long time, years and years, in my late teens and all the way through my 20s, trying to figure out what I should do for the rest of my life with this really strange belief in place, rather than spending my time learning and expanding into spaces that would support me as all the things that I am today for the rest of my life. And I think that it's just, it's a fascinating thing. Shame and regret, to the extent that I allow myself to bask in that, which is not too much. I get it. You breathe in, you breathe out. Now here. Okay, and what's next? And today, what's next is Lucas learns to fix a car. And then Lucas learns whatever he needs to learn. But I think that's something that, I was thinking about it while y'all were talking, and I thought, I wish maybe someone had said, maybe like my mom or my dad or whatever, they were like, hey, by the way, you get a coach. Like, here's a coach, like talk to this person and like, just talk to them about your ideas. And if somebody was like, hey, let's just try this stuff. Let's just like soften up a little bit and just give it a shot. No big deal. Test the waters. So
I love it. And you know what? I'm being that parent too. Like, so I noticed that there was a need for my 11, almost 12. We are very open in our family. We have lots of conversations about lots of awkward, weird things. And we try to be very understanding. And I understand why you're feeling that way. It's pretty common for a 12-year-old boy, all these things, right? Yep. And, but sometimes you don't want to hear it from your parent. Mm. And sometimes you're like, you're just saying that because you love me. You're just saying that because you have to. You're my mom. You have to love me. Yeah. Right. And so I have a friend that's doing a mentoring thing with 10 to 15-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's built out this whole program. Shout out to Joe. And
that's right. We did an episode with him. Check it out.
Yeah.
Huntsville Hustle?
Yeah. Huntsville Hustlers.
Hustlers.
And so my son has started mentoring and he kind of disguises it through physical fitness. Like he's also doing some personal training with them, but getting them to open up, getting them to talk. And so I'm really excited that I'm following through on that and giving him that opportunity for just have someone to talk to. Yeah. That's not mom that has to love him.
Correct. Well, I mean, are you married?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how many times have we gotten into a conversation with our spouse and had those conversations and you're like, I need you to just do this. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure. Or you look beautiful or whatever happens in the conversation. And then somebody else does it and they're like, oh, wow, thank you so much. And it's just like this mind blowing. And you're like, I literally 10 minutes ago said the exact same thing. Right. And it can get so frustrating. I would rather help create those frustrating moments and create the success earlier on rather than waiting for it to happen naturally through a supervisor 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
That life advice, my parents are very wise and were very much involved with my upbringing, and not everybody's fortunate to have that. So but even still, there were those moments where I didn't want to talk to my mom, like you said, and I didn't want to have to just have that conversation with my dad. I needed somebody else that I could just talk to, but also that I could trust.
Right.
And so that was...
to not give bad advice, correct. Right? Yep. Everybody has a lot of advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Advice is like belly buttons. Yeah, everybody has one, and some of them stink.
Full of lint.
Some stink. Some stink really bad.
Some stink.
Really? Is that a thing? Do belly buttons stink?
Some. I don't know.
Some of them. I'm sure some numbers.
As we both look at Lucas.
Everyone's looking at. Why are you looking at me right now?
Why you stinky Billy Bob? Well, this has been fascinating. So what I would love for you to do is tell the viewers how they can connect with you.
Absolutely.
Where do you hang out the most? And so spike that lens and give us a thing.
Absolutely. So I am involved. I have started my own online community as well. I realize that as I create the blueprints, I'm not the one that's I'm not an interior designer. And I love creating the blueprints, but I have a community called the Now Here Network. That's probably the most popular place and best way to get in touch and stay connected with me and what I'm doing daily. And that is a community of other professional coaches and other people that are invested in helping other people grow. And so we get together, we do weekly meetings, we do connections, and that's where a lot of those conversations happen, where you're not paying for a business coach or you're not paying for a life coach, but you're connecting through community. And if it leads to that relationship or through that relationship that you want to work one-on-one, you've already built the trust, you know who they are, you know their character, and that gives you the confidence to step forward into that lane. So that's a great way to get connected if you're interested. I do have it's on my website, and then Instagram is probably the most popular. Meta, right? Kind of over everything, but Meta is my most popular platform that I use.
Nice. I love it.
Wait, well, what about like if you're in Huntsville, if you're around, like where can people like come and like
hang out with you?
Yeah, like where are you at, man?
Yeah, so I am in Athens, but I'm usually involved with a lot of local events. If you've ever heard of B&I, that's usually where I am mostly connected on Tuesday mornings. So if you would like to visit or would like to connect, that's where I'm really growing my business the most. My first client that I've ever received when I stepped out into my business full time, that was through BNI. It was really transformative, and it was a great connection for me, and it continues to lead to greater connections. So I would highly encourage you to connect with me through there.
Yeah, that is great. And wait, and you're on a this is actually also through BN. There's so much you should check him out. You got to check him out. And you can check us out too, like if you want to. Whatever. Dana, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say Referrals in Motion. 8:30 on Tuesdays. They meet at Rocket City Tavern at Gate 9.